Here's the problem. The Colts roster, sometimes when you have the perfect ecosystem for a young quarterback, it's beneficial to them because you're able to see what you have in them and they're able to benefit off of the talent around them. It almost feels like it's working now against Anthony Richardson because when everyone around the Colts organization looks at that team, that roster, and the way they're performing, Jonathan Taylor back this year, Josh Downs popping out as a really good receiver, you start to think playoffs. So it's almost like the team is so good around Anthony Richardson that you don't want to waste a year of that production trying to develop a guy, whereas you know Joe Flacco can take them to the next level and clinch a playoff berth.
Yeah, and if there's shortcomings in that game, odds are it's because of the quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's a tough pill to swallow to try to sell tickets for a fan base. It's like, hey, we're not necessarily going to try to win today. Because if we were trying to win today, we'd start Joe Flacco. And that's what they're deciding to do.
888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline. Are the Colts making a major mistake by reverting back to Joe Flacco and putting last year's top 5 pick, Anthony Richardson, on the bench, on the pine? Move your meat, lose your seat. That's what he did. And Flacco came right in, swooped in like the hero he is, just like he did for Cleveland. And I think the Colts have a good shot. We'll look at their record or their schedule going forward here. I think they have a good shot actually to make a playoff push. But are they making the right move or a major mistake benching the future of that franchise? 888-760-3776. Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline here on Theoretically Speaking. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. Are the Colts making a major mistake, or is this a savvy move by Shane Steichen to go with the vet, Joe Flacco, almost 5 or 6 years to the date where Lamar Jackson overtook Flacco in Baltimore and came on his trajectory? Is now Anthony Richardson getting benched for the vet?
This is insane because we saw the prime of Joe Flacco's career about 6 years before Lamar Jackson took over.
So weird.
So we are very far removed from Joe Flacco's prime. I almost think that this move, benching Anthony Richardson, says a whole lot more about Joe Flacco than it does Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Like, how is this guy still playing football?
He's 39 years old, and you're right. We thought we had saw the end of Joe Flacco back when Lamar took the job. When Flacco gets hurt in Lamar's rookie season, Lamar takes over, and at first it was just going to be he's just subbing in until Flacco gets healthy. But he was he came in like a wrecking ball.
Exactly. He's the exception. Lamar Jackson was the exception to the rule.
He takes the job. Flacco then dips, becomes a career backup, and we're thinking at that point he has 1 or 2 more years as a journeyman, veteran backup, and he's out of the league. We look up, and not only did he come in he was really good with the Jets when he came in. People forget that little stint with the Jets when they were middling in their quarterback mediocrity with Zach Wilson and whatnot. Flacco had a couple of good starts in there. I think he had a 400-yard passing game. I think he did, or at least like 350. And then he takes the Browns to the playoffs, and here he is now supplanting what is supposed to be the future of the Colts franchise. Anthony Richardson had 12 starts in college, only 10 in the NFL, and he's already now being questioned whether or not they want to invest in him long term, and it's because of Joe Flacco.
Right. If they had no one behind Anthony Richardson, it's whatever.
No, you just roll with the punches.
Exactly. Roll with the punches, punt on the year. All right. But no, you had a guy step in, turn that offense around immediately, mid-game immediately, when Anthony Richardson first hurt, I believe, his oblique. And all of a sudden, that team looks different.
So here's another thing, though, C-Cat. Do you see who's next on the schedule? Sunday Night Football on the road, Brian Flores. Like, this could be Shane Steichen protecting Anthony Richardson from himself. You don't want AR-15 going on the road in prime time, too, and having to face a Brian Flores coach defense that has been tops in the league in most statistical categories, that has confused some of the best of quarterbacks. And this just reminds me, thinking of AR going up against that defense reminds me of that Thursday night football game, I think about 3 years ago or so, when the Dolphins were bad. They were middling with Brian Flores as their head coach. The Ravens were elite. And I was like in Lexington, Kentucky. We had just finished a bourbon trail, actually. We did a bourbon tasting. Is amazing. I'm a big bourbon guy. I was at my buddy's house, so we missed most of the actual game. Had like a little house party. I'm filling myself off the bourbon. I walked past the TV screen, and I saw that Dolphins-Ravens score. I was like, what the hell is going on? Flores had Lamar in a pickle, and that's when it became the book was out on Lamar Jackson. They did the same thing to Jalen Hurts, and I'm sure Flores was going to do it to Anthony Richardson here. Zero blitz.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to zero blitz you all game. You're never going to know where the angles are going to come from. You're never going to know how to properly set your protections. And they had Lamar. Like, that was the worst I think we had seen Lamar to that point. I think Shane Steichen's protecting AR right now.
Yeah, we're talking about at the Vikings is that Colts next game. Of course, with Brian Flores with the Vikings. 8:20 kickoff, Sunday Night Football. A lot of eyes are going to be on that football game, and a lot of eyes are going to be waiting to jump on the Colts if Joe Flacco starts out. First half stat line looks like 4 for 12, 2 interceptions. Because we saw the bad Joe Flacco in the playoffs against the Texans when he was with the Browns. We saw that version of him. It's not all sunshine and rainbows in this renaissance of his career. So that's still within inside of Joe Flacco. He's capable of being dog crap.
So, but here's what I'll say, though. It's better for the Colts because this past Sunday was embarrassing for Anthony Richardson, not just because of the stat line, but because of the moment. Him asking out of the game in an unprecedented fashion because he was tired, and then admitting to it and not lying to the media afterwards, which is what he should have done. If he followed that up with getting pantsed by the Vikings on Sunday Night Football, what are all the Monday morning headlines now? We're going to forget everything else that happened, and we're going to be talking about, was this a colossal mistake taking a risk on a guy that had that few of starts in college? Is Shane Steichen the offensive genius we thought he was? All of these questions are going to surround and also knock at the confidence of the future of your franchise. Big brain here. I know a lot of people are thinking this is just a win now move. It is. I think also this is Shane Steichen and the Colts organization protecting Anthony Richardson for what was about to come.
That's true. I mean, yeah, protecting him from the noise on the outside. Yeah, that's what you're losing, right? I mean, wins and losses.
He was not going to succeed against the Vikings, bro. On the road,
anything could happen in the NFL.
Hell no.
I'm not going to write a guy off. I think that it'd be a big wake-up call, probably scared straight after letting loose that he did check out of the game because he was tired. I think he got an earful from his own organization from within saying, dude, that's just his day one stuff. If you've never heard somebody say that, I'll be honest, for a reason.
Remember, what was that, week 1 or 2 when Brock Purdy walked off the field? And his coach is Kyle Shanahan. And he's preparing to get paid $55 million a year is what he at least hopes to get in January. He walked off the field after facing that Vikings defense and came up to Flores and said, bro, your schemes are crazy. You don't think that if Flores could fool him and many quarterbacks after him, look at the Vikings' schedule this year and look at what they've done to quarterbacks that have faced them. 1 or 2 have gotten by, but didn't they get 3 picks off of Aaron Rodgers as well?
Yeah.
Like, Flores, they were going to humiliate Anthony Richardson. Or at least they had a very high chance of doing. I think this was them saving Anthony Richardson because they do still believe in him as a project going forward. If they hated AR, they would have trotted his ass out there on Sunday Night Football and let him really get finished off.
So how similar is this benching to Bryce Young getting benched for the Panthers?
I think it's totally different, honestly. I think Bryce Young getting benched for the Panthers was more Dave Canales trying to save his job, more so like
by finishing 5-12 instead of 3-14.
Yeah, and also I think he didn't feel like he was going to be able to get anything out of Bryce Young this year. Maybe he tries to go back and figure it out in the offseason. Maybe they trade him, but I think the Panthers have given up on Bryce Young. He's not the future of their franchise. I don't think the Colts have gotten to that point with Anthony Richardson.